Good morning and welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Once again, it is a beautiful autumnal morning in my local Tokyo neighbourhood, and I will be continuing my morning photography walk around my local neighbourhood, taking a few photographs and once again inviting you fine people to join me. And if you enjoy this content and you'd like to see more content like this in the future, then please do like, comment and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you ever so much. But without further ado, let's go. I hope you enjoy the video. This morning I am using the Sony a6400 with the 35mm f1.8 prime lens by TTArtisan. First I wandered over to the park here and I heard some sort of commotion going on across the street. Let's check it out. I like the motion captured with the kids running, and I love the shadows stretching out over the ground. This person on the mound in the center is just about to throw the ball, so it's somewhat of an action shot, I guess. There are a few things I can pick out that I like, but unfortunately overall I find this photograph itself is not great. The composition itself is rather lackluster, I find. Now, I much prefer this shot. The composition is a lot more pleasing, I find. There is much more going on, both in the foreground and the background. And again, I think the motion and the fun has been captured rather nicely here. I love the stark white lines that act as sort of leading lines to break up the segments of the image and lead the viewer's eyes around the photograph. As you can see, the lighting on this particular day was absolutely fantastic, and I just love how it shone down so brilliantly onto this park and cast such lovely crisp shadows. The lighting, the shadows, it was a gorgeous day for photography, and so hopefully we will get some good shots today. Let's see. Now, I really enjoy all of this wandering around looking for things to photograph, and I thoroughly enjoy documenting it for you fine people to watch and hopefully enjoy. But this is still very new to me, and I would therefore be very welcoming of any critiques, advice, or any comments really that you may have. So please do feel more than welcome to leave a comment down below, and I will be sure to read and respond. Thank you. For this particular photograph, in this particular scene, I just really enjoyed how the wooden slats on these benches here act as almost leading lines, leading both my eyes and the viewer's eyes through the photograph to the seated subjects sitting on the benches. I also love that gorgeous sunlight in the background and the shadows of the trees in the foreground bathing the subjects in shadow, and with that lovely dappled sunlight on the floor peeking through the trees, breaking up that harsh shadow in the foreground. I just found that a very nice touch. And turning my attention away from these flowers and turning my back to this fountain, only to be greeted by this absolutely gorgeous rainbow suspended in the fountain, was absolutely beautiful. I just had to take some photographs. And now you might be thinking, why did you photograph trash just strewn on the street? And I asked myself that same question, but I just really liked that bright, vibrant yellow material laying against the grey concrete, the contrast of the colours and the harsh shadows and that beautiful morning light illuminating all of it, illuminating so beautifully what should be quite a boring piece of rubbish. I just found really nice, I guess. More trash. I love the colours here. The little splashes of blue paint on the wall, and again that vivid yellow of the netting and the sign contrasting so nicely with the grey concrete all around it, I just found so striking. I really liked the framing of this particular photograph, with the horizontal lines of the pavement and the shadows of the lamppost, and the vertical lines of the lamppost itself, framing these beautiful plants so nicely. I also just adore how this beautiful sunlight bathes and illuminates so beautifully these lovely flowers against the dull grey background. I really like this shot. This man reading his newspaper on the park bench, enjoying his morning, the hedges around the bench almost perfectly framing the subject is also a very nice touch. And I also really enjoy that stark contrast of the pristine, dazzling white of the man's clothing, shoes, hat, and newspaper against the grey and green background. I also enjoy how all of that matches almost perfectly with his bicycle. Coming upon this subject, I just really enjoyed how the man's clothing seemed to almost mimic, almost perfectly, the scene beyond, with his black jacket matching the dark shadows on the other side of the street, and his light-coloured trousers mimicking the light and the white road lines on this side of the street. I really like this photograph. I was coming to the end of my morning walk and heading back to my apartment when I stumbled upon this scene. Nothing special, but I simply enjoyed the contrasting colours, the vibrant yellow of the crate against the pristine white of the wall, that brilliant blue of the tiles on the wall, and the odd bits of green. I'm also really intrigued by the story of objects. I'm sure this yellow crate wasn't here when I walked past maybe 20-30 minutes ago, but now it is. Why? Who left it here? Why? What were the contents of this crate? Has it been discarded and left behind like other bits of trash I've encountered? Or will its owner return for it? Maybe I'm just blabbering on, maybe this is all thoroughly uninteresting, but I don't know, I find it intriguing somehow, and that's what drew me to take this photograph. Once again, the story of common everyday objects that I find intriguing. The shoes placed here obviously indicate that somebody is inside this store. Who is the owner of these shoes? What is their business here? What is the function of this store? So many questions and ponderings, most of which will be left unanswered, attached to such simple objects that I can't help but be interested. And with this photograph, this marks the end of my morning photography walk. But thank you so much for coming along with me, and I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. If you do, then please do like, comment, and I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I look forward to creating future content and having you fine people join me in that, so please do consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.